Hi, welcome. My name is Paweł Bączka. I'm CTO VP at Storware. So today I'm privileged to share with you the presentation that I was doing in the November 2022 on Red Hat Summit Connect in Warsaw. So the subject of this presentation is Storware, an enterprise-grade backup and recovery for Red Hat ecosystem. It's really important presentation, not for me personally, but I believe for all of the Red Hat ecosystem distributors and partners to better understand what actually is going on and how the Storware can influence your existing portfolio and can help you to achieve the best in bread backup and recovery solution. So please join me through this presentation. In the next 30 minutes, I will tell you how we approach the backup and recovery platform and how you as a Red Hat user, partner, distributor can achieve the best benefits from our offering. So first of all, you need to understand who we are. So as a Storware, we actually since near 10 years, we're building the best-in-class enterprise data protection solution, not only for the Red Hat ecosystem, but we do specialize in a KVM-based hypervisors. So we have a virtual machines, containers, cloud environment, storage providers, endpoints, and Microsoft 365. And on the right on the slide, you can see that we have, today we're saying enterprise-grade data protection for modern workloads. And what we mean by the modern workloads, we believe and we see that you as a customer, as an end user or the partner, you need to provide the services to the different range of the infrastructure, starting from the application through the cloud, containers, laptop, storage, virtual infrastructure, or the physical infrastructure. It's not easy to cope with it with this single pane in glass solution, and it's not easy to get the latest news from this field. So the goal is to get the single backup and recovery solution for all different types of the modern workloads. Where we are and when how our journey was look like in last 10 years. So right now we are visible in more than 142 countries. We have more than 3,500 clients. We right now focus on only one solution called Storware Backup and Recovery. You previously could hear about the vProtect or the Kodo. We just combined, redesigned, and renamed into the Storware brand. And business partner business, it's really important from us. So if you are right now the Red Hat working as a business partner in Red Hat ecosystem, please feel free to contact us to get more information how to become a Storware partner to fulfill the Red Hat portfolio offering. And on the map, you can see that we have a different, we are in different places, like EMEA, NAM, LATAM, or the APAC. So actually operating all over the world with the headquarters in Warsaw, Poland, Europe. What is also important, you can find the Storware not only in a direct sales, but you can find the Storware in our technological alliances partners, which we have the OEMs, and we have 4 brands here, starting from the Dell through the IBM, Micro Focus on the Catalogic. So the different namings like Dell vProtect, Micro Focus Data Protector for cloud workloads, Storware Catalogic Software DPX or the Storware itself from the IBM. So keep in mind that the portfolio is available also from the biggest players on the market through the OEM agreement. So and many times we've been asking about, okay, what's your plan to be in a Gartner? Of course, this is our plans to be one of the vendors in a Magic Quadrant, but we mainly because of the OEMs, we saying, okay, but actually you can find us in a Micro Focus or IBM or the Dell. So we are actually fill the gaps from the existing backup and recovery portfolio. So we are part of the Gartner itself, not natively, but through the OEM partnership. What is also important, I advise you to go to the Open Virtualization Pro portal. This is one of the Storware investments from the last years. We're building the open community for open-minded people who are interested in the open source virtualization, containerization, and the other subjects based on the open source technology. We have a subject matter experts who are sharing the knowledge through the webinars or the blogs or the newsletter. So just go to the openvirtualization.pro, just sign to the newsletter to get the latest informations, news, and be part of the community where the great experts sharing the knowledge that they achieved in the last in the last years. Coming back to the Storware, our vision and direction didn't change in the last years. So we definitely would like to have a source and destination agnostic philosophy. So it means that you have a same actually backup and recovery workflow for the different types of the protected entities, protected sources that you can attach to the Storware. The same philosophy will be when you will choose the backup destination. Later I will explain you more this point. Agentless. We would like to get most of the protected data through the agentless philosophy. We didn't want to install the agent. We would like to use the native API to allow you to get more robust and efficient way how to not only configure but manage your backup infrastructure. And the simplicity from the deployment through the management and better support. So we're trying to do our best that every version gets some more feature that will simplify your daily tasks. Architecture, a really important one. We always, when we speak about the Storware Backup and Recovery, we need to go through the slide. The slide showing, we call it freedom of choice philosophy. So on the left, you have a different segment sources that we can protect through the Storware, starting from the virtual machines, containers, cloud, storage providers, application endpoints, and unique values on the left. We are the only vendor right now on the market that's supporting heterogeneous virtual machine environments in this range, starting from the VMware through the Hyper-V, but through the most, not all, not yet, but most of the KVM-based different orchestrators, starting from the Scale, Proxmox, KVM, Nutanix, OpenStack, Virtuoso, Red Hat Virtualization, Ovirt. So lots of KVM here, investment from the Storware side, especially when we speak about the Red Hat. There we will be talking about the Red Hat Virtualization, of course, or the Ovirt, so open source distribution. Containers, definitely the OpenShift will be the important one here on this presentation, and the rest think we don't have enough time to go through all of them. I just want to emphasize that we have multiple options, multiple protected objects to available to protect. But on the right, you have a Storware in the middle as an engine, and on the right, you have a different backup destinations, starting from the local file system through the object storages to the enterprise backup provider. And this is also a unique value because we are only vendor right now on the market that we can work as an independent island, but we can also fulfill the gap and ingest the data from the example KVM-based hypervisors into the IBM, Dell, Micro Focus, Veritas, or Rubrik. So this is interesting part because maybe you are as a partner, customer, distributor, has one of those install-based vendors, which, for example, doing the backups from the last 10 years. You don't want to exchange the whole system, but you could use this Storware as a proxy to ingest the data from the sources that this vendor doesn't support today. To go deep dive into the architecture, you need to understand that the Storware have two major components. You have a Storware node and the Storware server. Node allowing it's like a data mover, so it allows you to connect to the different sources. In a Red Hat, for example, it can be OpenStack, OpenShift, or the Red Hat Virtualization, and move this data through the API into the specific backup destination. So nodes equals the data mover. Server itself, it's responsible to orchestrate all of the tasks, and gets the web UI interface or CLI interface to manage all of the configuration and the monitoring part. And server has its own metadata database to collect and build the database for all of the backups. And server is a part also as a disaster recovery in case of whole data loss or in case of disaster recovery scenario. Node is stateless, so you can lose a node, you can install the node. Once again, you can re-register on a server and can run straight away. Keep in mind, from the disaster recovery perspective, the server is a key point. So why we do believe as a Storware that we are the first choice for the Red Hat ecosystem? First of all, we are today only vendor who supports most of the technology which attaching the virtualization and the containerization projects. Starting from the OpenShift through the OpenStack, Red Hat Virtualization, you can see also the Red Hat Ceph, and in new future, in the middle of 2023, we have plans to provide the OpenShift virtualization support. So if you choose in the Storware, you can feel comfortable that whatever technology you will be placed into the production or into the dev test environment, we can cope with most of the technologies that is provided by the Red Hat. And just a fast recap, when we actually started this investment, I will not go through all of the time frames and investment, but we started to provide in the KVM backup in 2016. It was a time that nobody on the market saw the huge switch that the KVM-based engine, KVM-based hypervisors are really significant growing. All of the backup vendors were concentrated on the VMware and a Hyper-V. What we saw as a Storware, and we still invest, is that we would like to get and care about the KVM-based hypervisors, providing the enterprise-grade data protection. So 2016, so you can see that it's more than 8 years that we are there. And also in 2016, we started the official Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization support. It was REV before the version 4. It was version 3.5, the first one that we supported, RHEV. Right now it's RHV. And we providing the specific feature set, starting from the incremental backup, disk exclusion for the KVM. And in 2018, for example, here you can see that we started protecting the RHV over API version 4. That is not forced us to using the export domain, for example. It's one of the oldest scenario how to backing up virtual machines on the Ovid or Red Hat Virtualization via export domain. And so 2018 plus, we've been the first vendor who started the free version providing widely on the market. Still here, if you right now decided to download the Storware, you will get the 10 virtual machines with all of the features except the enterprise backup provider for free. Only the limit is the 10 virtual machines or 10 containers, for example. So please feel free to test it, to download it, and to play with it. This is a great offering, especially for the home labs or this really small environments or key KVM virtual machines that you would like to apply for free to play with it, to be 100% sure that this is the right solution for your company, for example. Going through there with the timeline, the RHV, LVM, VG scanning, incremental backup, snapshot management capabilities. So not only the backup capabilities, but also the snapshot management. The OpenShift support in 2019, the OpenStack, based on a Ceph technology, also with the SSH 2019. So it's more than 4 years that we moved into also the OpenStack environments, and lots of new things. We've been the first one. This is also the key information. On the 30 September 2020, we've been the first company who introduced the changelog tracking in a technical preview for the Red Hat Virtualization. We want to be as close to the Red Hat ecosystem as possible. So we providing sometimes really hot new features, hot topics in technical preview, which is significant value for the most customers who are looking for some, hot trends and news. And CBT, it was one of the features that we introduced. We've been waiting 2 years that we moved from the technical preview to the GA. Right now it's officially GA. So this is one of the key strategies right now that we're using for all of the RHV environments. More information, just you can always stop the YouTube and see what exactly we did. All of the information are available on our documentation on Gitbook. So if you Google Storware documentation and go into the changelog, you can find it. I just filter it to the RHV, OpenShift, Ceph, and OpenStack releases. Management. Okay, so if right now saying it's interesting, so we have a store. They invested in 2016, but how actually the management looks like? So, what is the single pane in glass? They show the really nice architecture, lots of protected sources, lots of targets. So how it looks in the details. So this is the first view after you log in into the console. So the dashboard with many information. The key point is here that we providing a really good diagnostic and monitoring tools. So everything what you see here is to configure, watch, but also when Storware is a task related. So if you're planning to protect, for example, 1,000 of the OpenStack instances, 100 of the Ceph volumes, every job will be treated as a separate workflow that you can monitor through the we called workflow or task console execution execution view. So here you can see the workflows. So each backup task will be will show the separate tasks, and each task will be representing, for example, backup, import, cleanup, etc. So there's many of the tasks assigned to the single workflow, like backup or restore workflow. And this is a great representation that the console, workflow console or the task console doesn't interfere in daily management and activities. But when you click downsize down the console, it will appear and showing you the progresses for all of the key tasks. So let's go through the major sources from the Red Hat that we are supporting. Let's start from the OpenShift here. I don't want to right now waste your time saying why you should protect the OpenShift. There are always the two opposite directions. One of the admins or DevOps saying, I have a stateless, so I don't need to provide the backup or the disaster recovery. You can always come back from the configuration. And the second part saying, okay, what about the configuration? What about the persistent volumes? So if you go into the production, I advise you to see which volumes or which configuration should be protected against the ransomware attacks or against the late data loss or against the disaster recovery. So what if your whole data center will goes down? I don't want to right now threaten you, but for me personally, doesn't matter if you're using stateless or stateful options. You should always get the configuration and have a secondary or the extra 2 copies into the third-party platform such as Storware, for example. So in the OpenShift, we can protect the persistent volumes, deployments, configurations, and of course the configuration ECTD. Let's go through the Red Hat virtualization right now. So RHV, you know that it's an open source project called Ovirt. So we can go through the Ovirt or through the RHV. And it's important that, this is what I said previously, we have different 4 strategies, but most of the strategy that we use in today's is the change block tracking, allowing you to incremental forever approach. This is a beauty because only when you have an incremental, the RHV or Ovirt will tell you, okay, I will give you only the change block. So this incremental will be really light from the numbers of the data in a daily basis. So we definitely advise to go into this direction. Also, what the Storware does when you are adding the new hypervisor managers to protect, you can also provide, from the disaster recovery perspective, the backing up of the RHV metadata DB backup. So it's a part of the configuration that you can attach. So not only the VMs, but also the DB catalog. And this is the beauty of the RESTful API approach, because we have an open API that allowing you to integrate with the third-party platforms. And the RHV and OpenStack, this is a great representation that, there we go, we have a dedicated tab called VM Backup. So you don't need to jump out between the different consoles. You can manage all of the backup through the one console from the RHV. We have built the dedicated plugin. It's available on a GitHub. So if you find in our documentation, you can easily download, configure, push into your RHV, and play with all of the backup and recovery operation through the one console. Let's jump out into the OpenStack. In the OpenStack, we provided the 2 different strategies. In the RHV, we had 4. In the OpenStack, we have 2. SSH, this is our own strategy that we developed. And disk attachment strategy to proxy VM, which need its old name, vProtect node. It should be the Storware node. So disk attachment, in most cases, you need to have a node installed on the OpenStack cluster. In SSH, they don't need to be on a cluster, but it requires all of the accesses or credential to the specific host. Disk attachment don't need to. It just need the access through the API to the management to assign or snapshotting and attach the specific disk and transfer it to the backup destination. So here you can, in this strategy, you can have incremental backups only when the Ceph RBD is in use. Lately, we also introduced the Cinder. So if you're using the Cinder, no worries, you can also have the incremental approach. So when you have a Ceph, this is also the representation that the node VM requires access to the Ceph monitors, which means the management network, and data reads locally via disk attached with a Cinder. So if you have a Cinder, definitely there will be no problem or the Ceph to protect the OpenStack itself. And the SSH transfer, the incremental backups are available for the Cookout2 row-based files or the Ceph RBD, and this is a really robust and scalable strategy. So you can start it from the few hosts, but we have an implementation like few hundred hosts working on this strategy. It's really robust because each host are responsible to send the data and transfer the data through this strategy. More information when you have a Ceph variant, just for you to understanding more information, of course, you will find on our documentation. And the same thing that I showed you from the RHV, the dedicated plugin. Here, this is the OpenStack Horizon. So we exposed our UI into the horizon. We don't need to jump out between our management. And what is more important, we are aware of the projects. So we can work only on a specific projects. So if you are a managed service provider, you can easily build the backup as a service offering based on the Storware with the OpenStack plugin, which can work globally or can work specific on a dedicated projects. You can see here the view of the instances. From here you can backup, mount, or the restore. Let's go through there. The Ceph. Ceph, it's important because when you have OpenStack with Ceph, RHV with Ceph, or the Ceph standalone, we are able to attach the Ceph volumes. But the important part, we need to install the node as a part of the component that will grab this volume to the specific backup destination. And keep in mind, because we know that there are some movement, even the Red Hat right now said that most of the Red Hat virtualization will go into the OpenShift virtualization workloads. Like I said previously, no worries, OpenShift virtualization will be available and supported in the mid of 2023. So if you're right now investing with this in a Storware based on the RHV, later on you will have the easy door to move on to the OpenShift virtualization. Example case studies that some implementation that we can speak of, some namings. I cannot tell you right now the details and the specific, but this customers using our platform with the Red Hat ecosystem. Just so we have a few minutes more, I just want to leave you with the live demo. So just to present how the workflow looks like. So after I log in, I can just grab, I can just go to the virtual environments, and this is the place when the infrastructure you are adding the specific hypervisor managers. And here this is a space for the OpenShift, Red Hat OpenShift, the RHV version 4, or the OpenStack. In the OpenStack, you're choosing the strategy, you providing the credentials, and after that you have some for example instances that we are inventory. This is the example from the VMware, but the workflow is the same. You can do the backup, the task is running, and the task is going into the queue, and right now let's imagine that this is the OpenStack RHV or the OpenShift. The workflow looks the same. So this is what I said, this is the agnostic approach for the source and for the target. So right now we connect using the CBT, exporting this data from the specific hypervisors into the node. Later on we'll grab this data from the node into the specific backup destination. When you're going into the specific details, like for RHV or OpenStack instance, this is a place where you can see some backup statistics and lots of information regarding the backup history or the configuration. You can set it up different policies. We call it backup SLAs, but also you can here have a place to automate the recovery plans, so automate the restoration procedures, or you have an option to individual file restoration through the mounted backups. So when I said agnostic, it means that also I have the same way how to manage, configure the different sources. So in a virtual environments tab, you can see instances, infrastructure, backup SLA. This is the place where I can set it up, the policy, the retention, and the backup destination. But the same, if we go into the storage, here you can see the instances, infrastructure. So here when I can add the file system or the Ceph RBD, for example. When we go into the cloud, this is the Microsoft 365 approach. So here I can have my specific Microsoft 365 tenant. Like here I have a Storware one, applications, etc. So same philosophy, this agnostic approach to the different sources. Okay. To build the conclusion, I would like to thank you to stay with me for the whole presentation. I would like to emphasize that what I said, if you invest in today in a Red Hat ecosystem, the Storware is a safe zone, good place to working with us, to install, because like I said before, we invested in this ecosystem from 2016, and many times we prove that we can be a trusted backup vendor, working with you as a partner, as a customer, or as a distributor. Also, you can see that we have a different digital channels that we're providing, from the LinkedIn through the Facebook, YouTube, on Twitter. So definitely redirect you to the Red Hat profiles, but also find the Storware profiles on the social media to get more information. Also, when you go to the storware.eu, you can download the free version. Keep in mind that we have provided 10 virtual machines or 10 containers for free, with all of the features excluded, only integration with the enterprise backup providers. But 99% of the features are available in a free version. Or if you would like to get 100% features, just go into the trial mode. Trial mode will give you also the support through the trial, support coverage through the whole trial period. So I would like to thank you again. If you will have more questions, do not hesitate to contact me directly through the different social media channels, or just on the first slide was my contact email, telephone. So feel free to contact. Thank you. Have a great day.